Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Wise Decision Maker Show, where we help you make the wisest and most profitable decisions. My name is Dr. Gleb Tsipursky. I'm the CEO of Disaster Avoidance Experts, the future of work consultancy that sponsors the Wise Decision Maker Show. And today with me is Samu Hällfors, who's the CEO of Framery. Now, Samu, I was doing a focus group for a client who I was helping transition to hybrid work and remote work, and their staff were really complaining in the focus group that when they come to the office, there's a lot of people doing video conference calls and they can't concentrate. And those people take conference calls from their cubicles because the meeting rooms get filled up. And so that's a serious issue. Can you tell me a little bit more about what you see as the future of the office in this current increasingly hybrid and remote world?
So what we've seen happening during the last couple of years is that the amount of video calls and how we collaborate with each other, with the colleagues and all of the kind of stakeholders that we work with, it has changed dramatically. And the amount of video calls that has kind of grown, I don't know the latest numbers, but I would argue it's close to tenfold for the pre-pandemic level that we saw. The increasing amount of and also the ability to utilize those kind of video conferencing technologies and ways to collaborate. Obviously, it has also kind of revolutionized what we expect and what we need from physical spaces, meaning workplaces and offices. And now, since after the COVID, people are getting back to offices and utilizing the office space and the workplaces even more. They are facing these issues of not having the place to collaborate with the technology that they have learned to collaborate with during the last couple of years.
And so that's definitely an issue for my clients, because one of the reasons that their staff are not really eager about returning to the office is this environment. Now, when they talk to me about in focus groups one-on-one, they tell me that at home, they can actually focus on their tasks and their individual tasks, whether that's for a finance group doing research and trading, maybe doing some customer support, whether it's for programmers doing development. That's where they can do their individual focused work. And in terms of taking video conference calls, that's the best environment for them to do it at home because they're not distracting their colleagues, and that's a major concern. So given that situation, I'm definitely talking to my clients who do want their staff to be spending some more time in the office about how the office should be revised and changed in the future to be more accommodating of this world where some people will spend some time remotely, other people will spend some time, and the same, they will probably spend some time in the office, but to make it a win-win situation where they're less distracted in the office and not distracting their colleagues. So how should the office be reshaped, keeping this in mind? What are the specific physical changes that my clients should be thinking about as they are figuring out what to do with their office spaces?
Well, obviously, I'm biased, but I still argue that we have kind of seen a huge increase in demand for privacy spaces, private pods, private rooms. That doesn't take us actually back to the old days when we all had our own offices, but we actually need these privacy pods a lot more kind of among the open spaces and collaborative spaces that we used to have since we are collaborating with technology even more. Then there can be kind of two ways of doing this change. Either people will use these privacy spaces for their kind of video meetings and collaboration through the technology, or depending on how the space is actually meant to be used, it could be also that these spaces are the places where you can go and concentrate. If the space is kind of primary meaning is to be a collaborative space where people being there physically present can collaborate together, which is arguably more effective in kind of finding new ideas and building new innovations than collaborating through the video conferencing system, then people who need to concentrate and go deeper into their thoughts and their work, they can actually take a privacy space and kind of concentrate there. So there is more than one way to enable people actually work efficiently and enable good work at offices and kind of workplaces. Kind of either you provide spaces for concentration, or you provide spaces for collaboration, or both. And most of the times it's actually a combination of all of these, depending on the spaces designed.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be, I mean, even the best use of the office, let me be very clear, is for collaborative activities. So people come to the office for collaboration, for working with each other. We definitely see research on that, whereas individual work and email work, video conferences are generally better done at home because you're not distracting others, there's no challenges. However, some video conferences will be taking place in the office. When people come there to collaborate, they will still be doing some video conference calling to clients, maybe to people who are not there at the moment for hybrid meetings. I mean, people who are coming into the office, like I said. So one purpose is collaboration. Another is to have more personal conversations, maybe about some tensions, conflicts, maybe performance evaluation conversations, to come there for training, more in-depth training, and to come for socializing. And during all of these activities, video conference meetings will still need to take place. Now, when we're thinking about video conference meetings that are taking place in the office, what are your thoughts about the best practices for how leaders should be thinking about what is going to be taking place in the office in regard to video conferences?
Well, I think kind of we all agree that, you know, in open space, it's not very good for your or your colleagues' kind of concentration if you're taking the video call kind of in open space. Since in our brain, reading and listening is happening in basically the same area of brains, and if you read and kind of creative thinking, creative work is a lot about reading and processing the language. So basically, kind of overheard conversations, they can kind of really take your concentration away from the things that you should concentrate. Okay, so this is kind of the basis why in open space you shouldn't have any video conferences. You would be distracting everybody else working there. What we learned over the years is that kind of one of the very key things, how people feel that how comfortable they are with the video conferencing, is how they personally look. So the lighting should be super well designed so that you actually look good in the picture of the video conferencing you're taking. The acoustics needs to be there. So basically, you need to be in private space that you don't have the distractions, but also in a space that enables you to speak and articulate with kind of clarity. So taking these factors into consideration: the lighting, the acoustics, privacy, and obviously, because some of these calls will take some time, the spaces that are designed for these calls, they need to be ventilated. So it needs to be super comfortable to be there. Also ergonomics, so how you are and the posture of the ability to actually adjust the place for exactly you. So because we are different in size and height and so on. So kind of we need to be able to adjust the workspace exactly for our preferences.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So that's really helpful about best practices. Now, when we're thinking about how to redesign offices, a conversation I often have with clients is, well, they have a certain limited amount of office space. And in fact, with their hybrid schedules, they are looking to get rid of some of the office space. But they also, I tell them that they really need to make the office space both more collaborative, more collaboration, and having some spaces set aside for video conferences, soundproof booths, and so on. And what is going to happen with private employee spaces is a big concern. Obviously, employees don't want to give up their personal desks, their cubicles. So what have you seen with your clients about how they negotiate these issues when they want to make the office space both more collaborative and also better fit for video conferences, which some of them will inevitably take place in the office, while negotiating employee concerns about private spaces being taken away and having to hot desk?
So what we've learned, we've seen hundreds of organizations globally, maybe thousands of organizations globally, and we've been monitoring the kind of development of modern workplace for more than a decade. Maybe the biggest learnings from that history and seeing the things change and evolve is that there are no silver bullets. So, there are certain kind of trends that and then company starts to kind of adapt to the trends, and that they start building the new spaces according to the new trends, and the architects are doing the same thing. I don't want to point any fingers, but organizations too often they kind of think a space from resource point of view. So they're optimizing the space resources to optimal use case. What they are not calculating in is the culture, the demand for exactly their organization's needs and their people's needs, and they rarely actually take the kind of user point of view when designing the spaces. So they kind of look it from too top down. Kind of giving up their own workstations is one of those things that some organizations have adapted quite successfully, so that people are quite happily utilizing kind of flexible workstations. But to be honest, I haven't seen many of those. That doesn't mean that it wouldn't work for anybody. It might, and it does. But it depends really on the personality, your type of work, what you're concentrating, who are you working with, and how many people are you working with, and so basically there are kind of tasks and roles in organizations that actually demand their fixed own workstation, and there are roles and people that are more flexible and more fluid of where they are working and with whom they are working with on daily basis. So I'd say that that the first thing is to hear what the people are saying, how your culture is actually what your culture is demanding from the spaces, and to take a look at from the user point of view. Space should optimize the output of the people, and when the people are the most comfortable, it's convenient, they feel that they are respected and their needs are listened to, then most likely they are also performing the best. So I would always take the kind of user point of view or employee point of view, and answer those questions and needs that they are actually facing and needing, not taking a look from the top down point of view and then optimizing the space to the resources they have, or let's say optimizing the space available and costs to the needs they have. That usually leads to a poor compromise from the user point of view.
I think that's a really helpful point, Samu. All right, now as we're wrapping up, are there any last words you wish to share with our audience?
Well, I think kind of we are facing totally new time. We haven't really understood yet completely, and we are still in the midst of the change. So I think and all of the organizations, they need to be open for the change and then adapt quickly to the needs of people. So I'm rooting for listening to the people what they need.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Samu. That was very helpful.
Thanks.
And thank you to the audience for checking out another episode of the Wise Decision Maker Show. Please make sure to subscribe wherever you checked out the show and leave a review. It helps others discover the show, and it helps us improve the show. All right, everyone. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode of the Wise Decision Maker Show. In the meantime, the wisest and most profitable decisions to you, my friends.